Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. So I just wanted to come on here today and make a really quick video about something that's been in my head for quite a while, and that's how similar structurally and abstractly video games and theme park rides are. And before we start, I'm really surprised at the fact that I haven't really seen anybody talk about anything like this, especially because so many people that like amusement parks or love Disney or whatever are also really huge video game fans, and the fact that people that fit into both of those categories are kind of likely to be autistic and we're really good at pattern recognition and connection making and whatever. But anyways, I've noticed this a number of times, especially when I'm watching behind the scenes videos on either theme park rides or video games. And fundamentally, that's kind of what I want to talk about. Just how sort of the skeletons of theme park rides and video games are so similar. First off, the fact that they're, more active than a lot of other pieces of media. If you're playing a video game, then your empathy is sort of instantly going to be heightened when you're playing as a character versus just watching them. And the same thing is true sensorily when you're experiencing a theme park ride rather than, watching the Disney movie that it came from. But really, like how I started with, I think the way that we see the biggest connection is, how they work, and especially how they work behind the scenes. All media incorporates some sort of illusion. Painting is a lot of tricks of the eyes, color theory, painting little dots of white to make things look like they're highlighted. And of course, there's tons and tons of illusion in film as well, and that's probably, the medium that's the most similar in this type of stuff. But there's something about the sort of active illusion that you find in both rides and games that are really similar. A lot of them incorporate very similar, techniques of forced perspective, tricks of light, the sort of illusion of things being natural when they're not. Both games and rides have characters on loops. They have sets that are built on tracks where there's the active space that the audience can see, and then they have sort of all the inner workings are actually kind of laid out bare behind the scenes because you're on tracks. You're never going to not be there. Games and rides both incorporate a lot behind the scenes. The first two ways that come to mind are storage. You have tons and tons of decrepit animatronics or old tech or costume left under rides or behind rides or, in all the endless hallways and tunnels that Disney has underground. And that's also true in game worlds. There are entire sets or rooms that are stored under or above the character, other characters that are stored under the game world until they show up, props that are stored under the game world when you stop using them. And the other way that I think that sort of behind the scenes thing is really connected is recycling. A lot of game developers reuse assets. I just finished playing the Claire run of Resident Evil 2 a couple days ago and noticed either in the orphanage or in the police chief's office or something that they were using, the exact same vase of flowers that they used in Resident Evil 7. And this is a really common thing that game developers do. The other thing like that comes to mind is, and another really cool illusion technique, Naughty Dog reusing these really low poly assets of, just moving walking people that were in some Uncharted games, and then they ended up using in the stadium in The Last of Us Part 2. And, when it comes to theme park rides, you see props and characters and animatronics being reused all the time. My favorite example of which is all the old presidents from the Hall of Presidents being used in Spaceship Earth and other rides, around Disney. But so both things are, not afraid to pull back into the reservoirs they have to create as cohesive an experience they can while, being aware of and utilizing the limitations that they have in whatever that medium is. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really have, sort of a big conclusion with this one. I'm just really interested about this connection, and again, really surprised at sort of the lack of acknowledgement I've seen in a lot of communities that I would assume would have made that connection. I'm really interested to hear from everybody in the comments. Have you made this association before? Are you fans of, both rides and games? Is this clicking now, but you never would have thought about it before? Did you sort of realize this, but you couldn't put a name to it or anything? I'm trying out doing a little bit more of like these shorter form videos just while I have a couple of like really, really huge projects I'm working on. So if you have any suggestions for, smaller things you'd like to hear me talk about, please leave them in the comments. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe. Maybe you could ring that little bell, get a notification every time I post. And with that, I'll see you next time.